Now, I've seen movies that I've liked a lot, but Star Wars did not have the effect on me it had on the people you're about to meet. Duh, you're blocking my light. Let's start the show. I have died and gone to a galaxy far, far away. Well, actually, not very far at all. I'm actually in Los Angeles at the home of the biggest Star Wars collector I've ever known. I mean, he's not a giant guy or anything. He's a regular-sized guy, but he has a lot of stuff. His name is Sansweet. You'll meet him in just a minute. But first, as you know, Star Wars excitement is building, and hold on a second. Did you see that? Well, of course you saw that. How can you miss it? Wow, what a piece. But yeah, excitement is building in anticipation of the next trilogy from George Lucas. As some of you may know, George is somewhat of a reclusive creator, but recently he sat down and told us all about how Star Wars first came about and how he's upgrading the 3 existing films.
Well,
so how many times have you remortgaged this house?
only 3.
3?
Only 3, but that was to add 2 levels, too.
Yeah, this is the guy. This is the collector. This is his house. Stephen Sansweet is right here. What do you suppose is the most valuable piece you have in the entire house?
Well, why don't you come this way?
Walk this way. I know where we're headed.
This was a piece I put together via an auction, and I got the costume part of Darth Vader and the helmet from a different source and some of the other pieces from a third source. But they're all from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And it is an authentic
cool
costume used in the making of the movie.
How much you pay for that?
I really don't want to remember, but I can tell you that someone else, George Lucas, put up for auction the helmet and the face mask.
Yeah. About
3 years ago, it went for $20,000.
Hello. Well, what's the tackiest thing you got?
Tacky? Well, that's also Darth, I think. How about, direct from Tijuana, a black velvet painting of Darth Vader?
That would be hideous. It looks, Darth looks like a kitten there.
It wasn't quite as bad as the hair painting of Darth Vader.
Let's see. Most prized possession. How about that?
I've got a couple this way.
Let me guess. The chest pieces, right?
Yes, the chess pieces, indeed.
Wow. Let me get your gloves.
Yeah, hold my claws here.
All right.
These are 2 of the chess pieces from that famous game aboard the Millennium Falcon when Chewbacca was not too happy that R2-D2 was winning.
Yeah.
And C-3PO said, "Let the Wookiee win."
Well, what are they made out of?
These, I think, are paper mache. This one is a solid one, and this is actually a stop-motion one. It just has little metal, almost paperclip-like joints, so it could move frame by frame.
How about this guy? Actually from the movie?
This is actually a helmet that Anthony Daniels wore in Empire Strikes Back, and you got to believe the guy has the smallest neck in the world.
Well, I've interviewed him. He is a slight guy,
yeah,
but
he
man, claustrophobia.
Pretty amazing. I barely get that on my hand, I think.
Pencil neck, it comes to mind,
Pencil neck, yes.
Yeah. I won't say geek.
Over here, this is a speeder bike scout helmet. I think this is one of the guys who actually crashed into the tree.
Into the tree,
because he's, you know, it's broken.
You see? It's cracked right there.
Somebody tries to take it from me. I get Han Solo's pistol.
Really from the movie?
This is a prop one that when they didn't have to do close-ups, this is made out of a very light resin, so it's a lot less heavy than the metal gun that they use for close-ups.
It's actually very, very light. This is cool. We're going to look around some more, but make sure you watch. If you don't keep watching, oh no!
Well, it's true. I'm a completist. That means everything that's out there, I want one of.
May the Force be with you.
Stephen Sansweet has been called a master collector of Star Wars memorabilia. He is the proud owner of the largest and most complete collection outside of the Lucasfilm archives. By day, he is the Los Angeles bureau chief of the Wall Street Journal. But his true passion is Star Wars. His large picture-filled book, Star Wars From Concept to Screen to Collectible, offers a comprehensive look at the history of Star Wars merchandising. Would you consider it an insult or a compliment if I said, hey, you are obsessed with Star Wars?
I am obsessed with Star Wars. I have been since I first saw the movie in 1977, so I don't consider it an insult. I consider it reality.
So where does this obsession come from?
Back in the 50s, anyway, you didn't buy toys as a teenager. It just was very uncool. Well, you know, in my 30s then, and I started buying toys again, I started buying space toys and robots. And then Star Wars came out and blew me away, and I started buying Star Wars toys as part of that, and it just never stopped.
Where is the very
Indeed.
first piece you ever
The
collected?
very first Star Wars piece is probably right around here. It was a piece of jewelry and some patches. And so
That's
these
where
things
this-
were available in the stores. These were one of the first things available.
There are a lot of movies out there, especially a lot of sci-fi movies, and you can collect from them. Why Star Wars?
First of all, Star Wars was really the first licensed movie product to make it big time. Before that, the licensing business was about $6 billion a year, and within 10 years after Star Wars, it had gone up to about $66 billion.
How have you been able to forge such a close and healthy relationship with Lucasfilm?
Well, I heard that they were interested in doing a price guide, and I thought, anybody should do that. It should be me. And I just called up there cold, talked to the lady who had just started the publishing division, Lucy Wilson, and she said, well, you know, she took my call, and she said, send me some writing samples and send me your ideas, and one thing led to another. The book developed to a book that became Star Wars from concept to screen to collectible, which was how Star Wars went from an idea in George Lucas's head to the screen and then to merchandise. That book is now in its 6th printing. There are over 50,000 copies in print.
Have you ever met George Lucas?
Sure.
So what's he like?
He's, you know, he's just your ordinary multimillionaire creative genius.
Tell me about the book you're working on now.
Right now, I'm putting together the official Star Wars encyclopedia for release at Christmas of 1997. And this will be an A to Z of the fantasy world of Star Wars and a much smaller A to Z on the real world of Star Wars. Some of the people behind the scenes, the people who put it together, locations, basically the films themselves.
So where does the Wall Street Journal fit in here?
It pays the bills.
Couldn't you make this Star Wars collection a full-time job? I mean, forget Wall Street.
Well, the force tugs at me.
Then your hobby would be all business.
I don't think so. If it were ever to become a full-time job, I don't think it would be frustrating. I don't think it would take the fun away from it.
The Star Wars Cantina creatures have found a new hangout, Bob's Basement. Well, of course. Well, of course Stephen has. Cantina creatures.
Of course.
How many do you have?
2 or 3.
Yeah. I know somebody who else has a collection.
Who's
a
that?
fine little collection of Cantina creatures. Bob Burns, you know him?
Oh, yeah.
You ever been into his basement, though?
Yes.
He let you down there, too?
Well, occasionally.
Oh, well, I just went the other day. Well, did you go wild when you found this?
Oh, this is great. I have so much fun playing this thing.
How many pieces do you have in the whole house, do you think?
Tens of thousands.
Yeah.
I mean, if you count everything.
You are such a kid.
Yeah, I love
Are you?
it. It keeps me a kid, I'll tell you.
I mean, you're not an old guy, certainly, but have you ever thought about, I mean, where all this stuff's going to go when you go off to that other galaxy somewhere?
Well, you know, I think I'd like everybody to have a piece of it,
Yeah.
so maybe go up at auction or who knows.
Yeah. Now,
No
the
rush.
New trilogy coming out. Do you feel the pressure?
Yeah.
All that memorabilia.
A lot of pressure.
3 more movies.
I've got to have it all.
Do you think you will start collecting that?
Oh, sure.
Oh, man, you're gonna
Is
move
there
out of
any
the house.
doubt?
Hey, my turn here, okay?
Okay.
Actually, let's go to something a little more tough, more manly. Come
Okay.
on. We'll see you next week, everybody. Ariana.